Hello everyone, and welcome to our dungeon. We're going to talk about role-playing stories. I thought dungeons were, appropriate, I'll put the dragon away. It's okay. So, I know we did this one already with Tammy, but seeing how you were not a part of this last time, and I think you were trying to leave some stuff out. I could be wrong. I don't know. I can't remember what the frick we talked about.
I can't remember either.
So, yeah.
Some of the funniest stories I've ever encountered have mostly been just interactions between players.
Yeah, which...
And the majority of them have been when people have gotten into the mindset of their character, where that character just clicked. And they're not playing on outside knowledge or anything else like this. It's just, like you brought up your cop story earlier, and that made perfect sense. You were operating based off the information you knew at the time, and you were trying to wheedle your way in.
Yep.
And this other player who didn't have any of that knowledge saw you trying to betray them, and it's just like, nope, up and off your character, and we couldn't really be mad at him.
I wasn't mad. I think the only thing that really sucked about it is that was at the end of a very long night. We'd stayed up all night playing.
Yeah. I remember some of those all-night ones.
Can't do that anymore.
I also remember the one campaign we ever finished.
We finished a campaign?
It was a GURPS campaign. It was literally... I don't remember if you were in it at the time.
Probably wasn't.
But literally we stayed up. We lost track of time, and we played for probably 14 hours straight.
I have a question for you. How does one end a campaign without, total annihilation or everyone dying? Because I don't...
That literally was how the campaign ended. What it is they'd found basically a natural portal hub that connected pretty much the majority of this universe together. And in the center, there was this orb that was constantly condensing magic. And somebody in the party had this bright idea to dispel magic on it. And the explosion went through the portals. So there was pretty much nothing left of that reality at the end of that one.
Yeah, see, thinking of it, how my campaigns, any campaign has ever ended, has usually been either someone stopped showing up so the entire thing had to end, or somebody got bored, people got bored of it and stopped it. I don't think I ever had a campaign actually end. Going with... Because now we're on that topic, unless you have other stories.
No, it's mostly it's just... My stories have just been either... It's when I happen to be in the right mindset and mesh well with the character, and then stupid shit happens. Or it's literally just a screwing around. But the vast majority of stories are just us having fun.
Well, like I was going to say, the one campaign that ended was the GURPS one that you did. Literally ended because you basically allowed one person to switch characters, but the rest, almost 90% of the people thought you meant everyone could switch characters. And everyone switched characters, and then you were okay with it, and then you realized how much it changed it, and were less okay with it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one that... I'm a very free-flowing DM. I really, when I start a campaign, I might have a little bit on the world, a little bit on the social background and everything else like this. Just a very light touches and hints, and an idea for that first session. I take all of my cues as a DM from my players.
Yeah, I try to do the same.
I can go from doing a super serious campaign, and the next session, just simply because of the way everybody's acting, we go off and end up doing a game show in a demon dimension where it's shits and giggles. It's really free-flowing for me, and there's times where one of the campaigns I was running, I had this actually great big epic storyline progressed, and the characters' interactions actually completely altered the storyline. I gave up on initially what I was planning and went this other path, and everybody had great fun with it. That's actually the one that ended. Because you guys actually, without even knowing it, managed to befriend the big bad and change the way he was actually planning on doing things. So it was going to benefit everybody rather than problematic for everyone. And then you guys blew up the orb, and that was the end of it.
Yeah, totally wasn't us. But, no, the other campaign, the two that I can think of also is Platiam, which with you, Chris. The one ended when one person decided to enter the room wrong. Mm-hmm. And the other one ended, and I can't remember how. I just remember having a character, doing very little with the character. I remember Tammy's character in that one more than mine, and then I remember it not being around anymore. Which is the one where Tammy was like the martial artist, and she beat somebody up. I remember I had a truck.
That was me kind of experimenting with Platiam, because we were doing that at a friend's place. Our mutual friends there that don't live in town anymore.
Sure.
Anyway, because it was you, it was Tammy, and it was him.
Okay. Yeah, I just don't remember it, but that's not shocking because, again, I don't think my character did much. I literally remember Tammy being like the karate little, like, you know, thing. She was like beating people up and stuff like that. And then I think we ended it. But the other one...
part of my problem is I'm just not a good DM, so...
No,
I can't think on the fly.
Yeah, that's one of Chris's biggest issues has always been, is that he has problems thinking on the fly, and pushing us.
Yep.
We actually had one attempt, which you were involved in. I didn't know you at the time, and you weren't involved in it, so you wouldn't know this. But it was actually three of us that DM'd it, the Try campaign, and that ought to tell you right there how much fun it was, because it's got its own name that immediately brings up everything. What it is one of our other mutual friends, this is when we were younger, was a combat nut. He dealt everything combat.
You know who that is.
Well, if I don't, you can bring it up later. Don't worry.
So what it is whenever somebody was dealing with combat, he would run the system. He would run everything, and people would be describing how they're acting, how their sword is swinging, and everything, or weapons were working, and everything else like this.
Okay, I think I know what you're talking
about.
Yes. One of our other friends.
You know him.
You mentioned him earlier. The crazy one. He was the overall long-term story planner, and I was the one that I was adjusting things on the fly, trying to keeping everything on the main flow, but still allowing things to adjust. And it was a real fun campaign while it lasted.
I don't remember much of it.
See, one of the ones that I wanted to do as a campaign once was actually have 2 GMs, have 2 separate groups, or have 1 GM have 2 separate groups. I was actually trying to do it at one point. It almost worked. I was this close to actually having it work, and then people just stopped showing up. But it was a White Wolf campaign I was going to do, and I actually had it all set up. Everything was going to be fine. Was going to get Tammy to make a giant map of the city that we were in, and like everyone was going to have like their actual house was going to be actually a house, like, you know. And then basically Group A, I would play on Mondays, and Group B, I'd play on Fridays. And Group A, I would have them only do like a week at a time. For example, like a real life week. And then Group B, when I went to them, they would do the same week, and they'd be like a week behind. Or they could maybe do 2 weeks, so they're a week ahead. And stuff like that. And I was going to have it so that what would happen is, if they burnt down a house randomly, the house would catch fire. But if you lived next door to that house, you would actually like wake up that night and realizing that your next door neighbor's house is on fire and stuff like that. So it would really be like Group A influences what Group B sees, and Group B influences what Group A sees, and stuff like that. And because I wanted to prevent people from just hunting down each other, and I knew one of our group members likes being mages a lot, I had actually made sure that there was NPCs that were mages. So that way, if he had walked around and did something as a mage, if someone tried and Group B started hunting him down, they couldn't find him right away.
They had false trails. They had to burst through. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Those are, as you said, really difficult to pull off.
I was actually this close from doing it, but then basically what happened was someone couldn't show up, and I needed it to be even number. And then when I was doing it, then just people just didn't want to roleplay anymore and stuff like that. But the other one was actually doing 2 GMs doing it at the exact same time. And then having it so like the 2 GMs are talking. So like basically, having it where like, for example, you and me, you have your own group and I have my own group, and we're playing at the exact same time.
And fire back messages back and forth between us so that...
room A is on fire. And then when basically your guys' group enters room A, it is now on fire because my group set it on fire.
Yeah, or if you're in a city and somebody gets this bright idea of, I'm going to blow this place up, it's the other group would be walking along and then all of a sudden, kaboom, and they're like, what the hell? And
yeah. It was really interesting. At one point, I had a small group, and one of the people just left. And instead of actually ending it, I started playing for that character and trying to be that character. And I was pretty sure I did a pretty good job. But according to the one person, I didn't do a good job, but that's it.
Yeah, well...
I think you know which one that one was.
Yeah, I know that one.
Because you were part of that one.
Yeah.
The problem...
I was with my cousin.
And then her and her cousin.
Yeah, I remember that one.
The main problem is always... when you're trying to play somebody else's characters, you don't really know a lot of the little bits and pieces.
See, no,
that
I actually did,
about.
and I was doing quite well. The problem that arose was the fact that one of the remaining people that was in the group believed that I stepped slightly out of the character's bounds, that the player would not have been smart enough to actually come up with that. But my argument was, you let him right into it.
Yeah.
Like, almost anyone could have figured that one out.
That was also the same one where the character the player and character who had a problem, pulled a prank on the one character, and this is great fun, this is hilarious. But as soon as he pulled a prank back, he was pissed.
Which is where I took over. I took over for the prank.
Okay.
And that's where he's like, he would never thought of it doing that to me and stuff like that. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
But, so that one kind of ended there, too. I've had other campaigns end because the fact that it just got to a point where the characters became so strong that what do you do next? Or the GM couldn't think of what to make us do next.
That's one of my main issues with GURPS.
A lot of White Wolf stuff ends like that.
With GURPS, if you're playing something like GURPS, you have to really limit the award points that you're giving out. Because it is so easy to just build them up and then, boom, you're overpowered.
But see, that's the problem, is that with those, the exact same problem is, if you don't give them enough points, then they're never really doing anything. That's why I'm actually, with your guys' D&D one I'm doing on Mondays. Which, by the way, I never put a timer on, so I'm going to go do that real quickly. With your guys' D&D one on Mondays, I'm trying to make it so that every time you guys level up, there's at least something somewhere that is at least challenging for you without making it outright impossible. I know that my NPC is kind of a little...
OP?
A little. But he's actually easily defeatable. You guys could actually immediately destroy him. He's got more health than you guys because he's at 2 levels higher than you. And that's primarily... And he's got a little bit more stats than you.
Yeah.
But, honestly, if the 4 of you team up against him, you could eliminate him.
Yeah.
Maybe to the death of one of you. But...
That's one thing that I think is different between our running styles. Like, I generally will try not to run a character if I got a large enough party.
Yeah.
4 people is my large enough party, unless I see a severe deficiency in something. Like, if we got a bunch of people that's all the side fighters, I might build a cleric. But that cleric will be in the background. Mm-hmm. He'll be in the combat. He'll have his own initiative order and everything else like this. But he's very much will keep to himself and not influence the story because I don't want to use a character to try to lead everybody around.
With me, the reason I started doing that is because I found that I was running into a point, where, especially with Chris. One point in Chris's role-playing grouping of us, he got to the point where he just wasn't paying enough attention. And because he wasn't paying enough attention, I was only running like a small handful of people. And the other people either would get mad at him and just not put in the effort, or were also getting distracted in their own way. And I also, when I ask people, which is Monday I have that problem too, when I ask you guys, what are you guys doing? Very few of you actually really answer. And when you do answer, a lot of you kind of just stick with the basic simple stuff, which is a lot of where dungeon crawling starts, which is what Chris did a lot of, DMing dungeon crawls. Because the fact that that's kind of where a lot of people just slowly fall into. So I started making NPCs. Because I like NPCs to begin with. I love being other people. I love having them do stuff. And then I would always make a character that was kind of mine, that would help guide the story if I needed to, without pulling this God card.
No, it's just strictly a style choice. You stating, just sticking to the basics, or I don't know, or anything like this. It's me for our current campaign that we're doing. It's my brain is just not clicking into the proper mindset. And you guys have pointed out a couple of issues with my playstyle, which unfortunately falls back to the way I normally played as rogues.
Yeah.
Where it's... the more normal people I played with, just really, we did not team well.
What he's actually talked about is that on Mondays, we've been having which is, again, if you're GMing and stuff like that, or even just playing, you run into these problems occasionally and you need to talk them out. It's one of the problems where a lot of campaigns will die if you don't talk them out. But he's been the leader of the group. He's the captain of a ship. When something goes wrong, instead of talking to his crew about the fact that we gotta go do this together, he'll just go do it. So, they have to go kill some guy. He believes, I could probably kill the guy by myself, so he'll just go do it by himself.
Yeah. That is my problem. I am trying to work on it, but still harp at me when you spot me doing it.
So, yeah,
and then I overcompensate and...
Yeah. And then he realizing he's doing that, then he starts asking the crew for their personal input too much. To try and base it off of the concept of... It's that tough balance, and I understand it is a tough balance.
Yeah.
Right now, Tammy, when we're playing on our Saturday campaign, she's running into the same problem. She's supposed to be the leader of our group. I'm supposed to be her, second kind of idea. But I've done a lot more of the, pushing for, stuff. But whenever she actually has to make a decision, I will let her make the decision. But I always give her my input, because that's what Tammy wants. Tammy wants to know what the group input is. Then she makes her decision based on that.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do, but it's been a long time since I've been an actual player versus DM. When Chris was running for that dungeon crawl, that's the first time I had actually really gamed in quite some time. And I still enjoyed it, don't get me wrong. There was just some issues.
Well, one of the issues is I think one of the people that were playing with us kind of wanted out and just wasn't willing to really tell us that he wanted out. And that's kind of... and we have our disagreements about everything, everyone does. Looking back at it and stuff like that, I think one of the biggest problems was the fact that he really wanted to be doing an evil campaign. Which we had agreed before we had started that we weren't going to do it. But there was that hint, that small little hint that we may want to do an evil campaign at some point, and he really wanted to do an evil campaign. So I don't know if he was purposely trying to sabotage the campaign, or if it was just the fact that he was hoping that maybe he could make this character be the one of the few characters that could move over. Like, which is would have been a really cool. I didn't even think about it until just talking about it now. That he could have been trying to make one of his characters literally become evil, so that way later on, when we actually did our evil campaign, he could actually go, I would like to play my character from the original series.
Now that you're mentioning that is a very valid possibility. I don't think he quite thought of it like that. That player in question, he likes being the center of attention and being a little bit more of the powerhouse. But by the same factor is
well, truthfully, we all want. Not all of us, but some of us do want to be the center of attention.
Yeah.
It is one of those things. And again, he could have been wanting to be leader of the group because he may have felt like he doesn't get to be that often, which again is one of those things. But it was just, I think, a bunch of circumstances that all linked together that just didn't work.
Yeah, it's in a different campaign style than what we were running at the time, where we were all playing good characters. It might have worked and it wouldn't have been as bad.
Yeah.
That's one thing for any of you that plan on running your own campaigns or anything else like this, is you're going to have arguments, you're going to have fights, you're going to have players that can cause issues and disagreements. It's, as a GM, make a call, stick to it,
and I think it was
at the end of the session, maybe sit down, maybe end the session a little bit early and have a group discussion about it.
I think that was one of the other problems, was the fact that at the time our GM, Chris, was very passive with a lot of things.
Yes.
Because he was trying to...
I'm a people pleaser.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's...
Which is not necessarily a good thing as a DM.
Yeah, no, some of the things we pulled in that particular campaign are things that I wouldn't have allowed, but then again, that's my reading of the rules and the way my mindset works.
Yeah. Well,
which
like I said,
everybody's got their own, which is the reason why it's fun changing up DMs every now and then, because you get different styles and everything else.
But like I said, so it was just
thought processes.
If Chris had put his foot down near the beginning, it wouldn't have been a problem.
Yeah.
But as it progressed, because he hadn't, it was just now rolling snowball.
Yeah.
And it was going to either end one of two ways.
And there was a little bit of a power creep due to the funds we got. Because I honestly, at the end there, was trying to figure out what the hell was I supposed to do with this character.
Yeah, see, and I had my character, perfectly laid out because I knew exactly what I was going to do with him there. Which is what I try to do with a lot of characters, is figure out what I'm doing with them before, too much into the campaign. So that way I can follow this path that I've created for them. And, the campaign can change stuff. I was never going to own a mansion. That was never part of my character's goal. But then the guy basically no longer wanted to live in his mansion because his entire family had been demon worshippers and were killed in this mansion.
That was a spur of the moment that I think you pulled off brilliantly. And stuff like that between DM and player, I don't think that's a people pleaser. I think that's somebody using an opportunity that appeared in the story and went, hey, here's the offer. Yeah. You know what happened here. You know we did this. We're going to protect and everything.
Yeah.
That made sense to the story.
Yeah. So there's little things like that. It's a combination of things. But yeah. But no, I've trying to think of any other stories. Oh, there was one we did. I think I may have brought it up in the last one. But, it was a decision that the GM made, and he was trying to be cheeky. And he had chose to have us guard something, and the way that he had worded it, I had already figured out what he was going to do. And Tammy had immediately was already, bound with my character, and Chris had been bound with my character a little bit, and had started realizing that when the GM was going on, that something was a little off. He couldn't pick exactly what it was, but something was a little off. And because I was not going to be a part of it, he was 100% fine with joining me. So for 1 year, the entire group had to guard rose petals. Except us three.
I think you told me about that.
And the part that was a problem with that story was the fact that it ended there because we, being us three, had actually wanted more reward and more levels than the other group. Because we were going to go out adventuring when all they were doing for an entire year was guarding a pile of rose petals.
Yeah, you're going out and actually being active about things while they're basically being stagnant.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I can understand that, and yes, that's some of the things that can kill campaigns is when you got your group of players that decides,
You think one?
I want to go do this, and the other group wants to go do this.
I'm pretty sure in the other one. It's our mutual friend that we keep talking about there. How he opened the door.
Yeah, which is the one I brought up. It was you jamming, and basically the idea was the fact that it was the way he entered a room that ended a campaign. He entered the room by drilling a hole through the door. An arm attachment drill, which did in the system that we were, because you guys don't know, there's two types of damage.
Yeah,
there's
NPC
one that
and SDC.
Which one does like simple damage and the other one does like mega damage. And he is a mega damage dealing weapon that he attacked a simple door.
Yep.
So basically it does like double or like
it just ripped through it like paper.
No, MDC conversion to SDC is...
It just ripped through it like paper.
100?
One MDC damage is equal 100 SDC damage.
100 times more damage.
But the odd part about that system is 100 SDC damage does not equal an MDC damage.
It's weird.
It's SDC weapons cannot harm MDC structures.
I guess it makes sense to some degree. I guess if you're taking a bat to a armor plating, it's not going to hurt the armor plating at all.
Well, it's more along the lines of you taking a handgun against versus a tank. Unless you're really lucky, you ain't going to do shit.
Well, in all honesty, I guess in that system, it would make sense if you could do 100 damage in one shot. Then it should.
Yeah, but then that would be classified as an MDC weapon.
Yeah, theoretically. But
you only do one, but it's still an MDC weapon.
But anyway, so yeah, no, that's how he did it, and basically it felt like an attack, so we basically attacked him.
Yeah, and that was sometimes character introductions. There's a reason why DMs do the old fallback of, you've known yourselves for a while.
Or you guys all meet in a bar.
Or something like that. Because, allowing character introductions, somebody thinks, this is going to be badass, I'm going to do this, but they don't think about how everybody else is going to react. And that turns bad.
Yeah. There's probably other stuff that I can't think of at the second about how campaigns have ended. I know that I joked around one of the campaigns that I was running. It was a Star Wars one. And I kept joking around about to the one character that I was just going to kill him. No matter what he did, I was going to kill him. And I literally would just it was a Star Wars campaign, and he would walk off a ship. And as he's walking off the ship, basically he just gets, stabbed and mugged. And then because of his falling body, his new character, who's also getting off the ship, slips on that body, smacks his head. And then stuff like that, and then a ship
a complete chain reaction.
Yeah, and because the ship then he tries getting away, it kills his next 3 characters, and then that explosion kills 4 more of his characters. And he's like, okay, I'm just gonna put an A at the end of my name, and just 50 A's later. Or the one campaign which we didn't bring up, which pissed off most of my party because I was GMing it, was a. Do you remember what system we were playing in now? But basically, they got to a certain point where they were on a planet. Oh, see, he remembers it now. And
Star Wars.
Was it? No, it wasn't Star Wars.
No,
it wasn't Star Wars. It was either, I think it was GURPS.
It had to have been GURPS then, yeah.
And they got to a planet and stuff like that, and they were trying to do some stuff, and then they tried leaving the planet. And then they found out that they were
all a dream!
Yeah, it's all a dream. And it kept looping and looping
all a dream!
and looping and looping. And they couldn't figure out what was and was not a dream.
I just stopped believing everything was real.
Yeah,
finally disbelieve the dragon, said the pixie.
So it was so funny because at one point they literally did finally get off the planet. They're actually flying away, and he's still this is not real. When is it going to reset? And I was like, this is awesome because for the rest of his life he will be wondering, will it reset? And that's how that campaign ended, was the fact of them going off to the distance going, will this reset?
That's effectively a Groundhog Day with a clear condition.
Yeah.
But if you don't know you hit the clear condition, especially if it's a staged clear condition...
Or like sometimes it would just be questioning it too much.
Yeah.
Like they got home at one point and like they were like marked as heroes and stuff like this, and they're like, "This is not true. This can't be real."
Yeah.
Things weren't adding up.
But anyway, so we're at 30.
Okay.
So we're gonna end it, unless anyone has anything else they want to bring up.
Nothing that'll. Can't wait for another one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So until next time.
Roll the dice.
Hey, I used that one last time. You can't use it again.
I liked it.
Anyway,
Bye.
see you guys later.
Ciao.